What's going on, everyone? Happy Sunday to everyone. Hopefully everyone is doing well, staying safe, healthy. If you had to take a COVID test, hopefully you have tested negative. If you did test positive, I hope you have a full and speedy recovery with no long COVID issues. It is time now for the Sunday edition of the Pandemic Update for Sunday, September 15th, 2024. If you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. This is where I do the daily pandemic update on all things COVID and any other virus that could be a health threat to you. Today being a Sunday, our focus will be on COVID in wastewater. At least half, if not more, of this video today will be talking about wastewater of COVID levels, other viruses as well, and basically what happens is when you have wastewater in your community, for example, you have restrooms in your houses, businesses, places that we use, it goes to wastewater treatment facilities. Now, not everywhere has this. Some places have septic tanks, but basically what happens is that water travels through treatment facilities, and they take samples from those treatment facilities and see what viruses show up and show us the levels of viruses. It has been very useful and helpful to know this during the COVID pandemic, and because of the COVID pandemic, we have now learned more about using this for other viruses as well, such as flu, Mpox, RSV. Norovirus is one that constantly shows up frequently in wastewater. So we will take a look at that in a little bit, but first we do have to get through some news stories. If you're new to my channel, subscribe down below. Give this video a thumbs up, hit that notification bell, share this video with anyone you know, and of course, leave your comments down below. Alright, starting off today in football. Yes, we have to start off in sports first, and something a little bit different than usual. Usually we talk about COVID outbreaks. Well, in this case, we actually have to talk about a whooping cough outbreak that is happening in Portland State University. Yes, they have had to cancel their Saturday football game yesterday against South Dakota because they are dealing with an outbreak of whooping cough on their team. Don't hear about that happen too often, but hey, it can happen. Speaking of COVID outbreaks, we do have a positive COVID announcement. The Roommate star, Mia Farrow, has tested positive for COVID, and unfortunately, she has to miss the performance. And it says here, the Saturday, September 14th matinee performance was canceled. There is currently no official word as to whether the evening performance will happen. I don't know. Did it happen last night? Anyone following this, let me know down below. And now taking a look at this. This is from My Long COVID Advocacy. They tweeted out about the COVID pandemic accelerated brain aging in teens, especially girls. That's interesting to see. I'll make sure I post this study on my website. I think we might have already got that study on there. I don't recall. All right, I wanted to show you something here. You know, we have archives on my website, and one of the things I like to archive is famous positive COVID announcements, and I've been slowly coming into the process of getting the past ones from the early days of the pandemic. There are hundreds of more I have yet to add. Who knows, it could be into the thousands, but there's at least hundreds of more that I have yet to add, and I just added one this morning, and as I was adding it, I started thinking, you know what, this would be a good reminder to show that not every time you get COVID is going to be the same. What am I talking about here? Well, former Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf tested positive for COVID 2 separate times. His first time was in December of 2020, where he tested positive for COVID but was asymptomatic. You may encounter someone, or you yourself may test positive for COVID and have no symptoms. It is something that happens quite frequently, believe it or not, where someone tests positive and does not have symptoms. Unfortunately, some people then go on to think, well, hey, I tested positive for COVID, I had no symptoms. See, the COVID virus, it's no big deal. Pause for a second. You could test positive for COVID again. So his first case was in December of 2020. His second time was on June 6th of 2022, where he tested positive for COVID and had symptoms that were mild. Now, this go around, it was just mild symptoms, but hey, he had symptoms the second time. What am I getting to here? You could have a case that's asymptomatic, then you could end up having another case at some other point in time. You get exposed, you test positive, and you do have symptoms. And it could be mild, it could be moderate, it could be severe, and keep this in mind. The majority of people that go on to get long COVID have mild symptoms in their initial case of COVID. Get what I'm saying here? So don't just assume because you had COVID the first time and it was asymptomatic that you can't get it again, and if you do get it again, you can't have symptoms because your second case can be completely different. Oftentimes we see cases where someone has a mild case the first time and the second time it ends up being a little bit more severe. Just wanted to share that with you. Just a reminder that, hey, COVID is random and different things can happen each time. Different variants can cause you to have different symptoms as well. Just a recap from this week, UK cases went up 4.3%. They reported 1,587 cases in the past week. Deaths, they had 102 deaths. That was down by 20.9%. And into healthcare, cases were down by 6.6%. So they had 1,465 cases of people being admitted to healthcare in the UK. Heat-related illnesses, we won't look at that today. That will update tomorrow. Let's take a look at the national allergy map. 45% of the country is in medium status. The majority of the red is in the mid-south. There is some red, though, meaning high pollen levels across portions of South Carolina and North Carolina. Air quality levels. Let's hope we see some better numbers here today. Look at this. Yet again, yellows, oranges, even a few reds showing up in the northeast. That wildfire smoke, it's made its way southeast now, and it's going to be a problem for a few days. Luckily, there is a weather system off the Carolina coast that's going to provide some moisture, at least from, we'll say, about Pennsylvania southward. Hopefully that will try and cleanse the air. West Coast also has some wildfire smoke issues as well. Taking a look at this, this is my other place that I tweet at. It is over on X, Climate Data Report. And of course, as you know, my big account that I tweet on all the time is COVID Data Report. I tweet there every day and multiple times a day. All right, Philadelphia yesterday reported for Saturday. Not happy about this. 865 EMS incidents. But if you were paying attention to yesterday's pandemic update, you saw that in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, south of Philadelphia, there was actually an active heat-related illness call at the time. So maybe some of this, there could have been some heat-related illnesses as well. At least we hope it's not post-COVID or COVID-related. But again, 865, that is a high number, and it's been going back high again for multiple days now. Current look at Montgomery County, there are currently 11 calls. We do see respiratory emergency, seizures, stroke, head injury, multiple times for head injury, falls, and wow, take a look what's going on in Chester County, Pennsylvania. I do see EMS standby several times, so that could be one reason why there's a lot of calls, but respiratory emergency, not once, not twice, 3 separate times. Stroke. Again, we've been seeing a lot of stroke and cardiac arrest calls lately, and respiratory difficulty calls as well. I mean, it's been a long summer wave. Some of these problems do come post-COVID, and that could be part of the reason why there is an increase, not the full reason. All right, wastewater scan, weekly data update. We're going to read over some of this because it is Wastewater Sunday, and from here on out, we're going to talk about wastewater, because I know so many of you come to look at this each week, and you always say, can you do my town? Can you do my town? We'll try and get to as many areas as possible. Wastewater scan, weekly data. COVID-19 SARS-CoV-2 is in the high category still nationally with high concentrations and no significant, I don't understand this part, no significant upward or downward trend over the last 3 weeks. Yet they have a chart here which clearly shows COVID is now dropping from the summer wave. So maybe next week when they do this again, they will say that it is clearly dropping now. The South and West are now down to the medium category. Remember, they were the first areas to peak. It says COVID-19 variants in sequencing data from a subset of wastewater scan sites. We see that KP variants are making up 50% of variants, with KP.1 lime green on this chart at 10.3%, KP.2 at 23.3%, and then they're saying KP.3, light blue at 34.7%. Again, remember, if we go to the CDC page, the KP 3.3 variant, I know I have it here somewhere, real quickly, the KP 3.1.1 variant, let me get that correct, is leading the way at 52.7%. All right, going back to this influenza, for flu A and B, continues to be low at this time. H5 has been detected in 9 states, that is bird flu. Norovirus, naturally, norovirus is now in the medium category with medium concentrations and no significant trend over the last 3 weeks, although I am going to show you something on their website in a little bit. It is rising a little bit. The South is listed in the high category at this time. All right, let's get over to the CDC page and wastewater COVID-19 national trend. As you can see here, it's no longer listed very high. It's listed as high. And why is that? Because there is somewhat of a small drop. It's a very small drop. But we are starting to drop nationally for COVID, which is a very good thing. And you can see here, there's a lot of colors on this map. We have gray sites, white sites, blues, oranges, and reds. Gray means it has not updated. White sites mean they're new or they're just reappearing on the map. 0 to 19% COVID detected is the dark blue. That is the really low levels of COVID. There's only 30 sites. We got to get that number up. We got to get back to a lot of low sites. We're not there yet. It's going to happen eventually before the winter wave. But right now we got some work to do. 20 to 39% COVID detected. 131 sites, 40 to 59% COVID detected. You know, that's just really light blue. 317 sites, and the one that has the most number of sites, oranges, that's moderate to high COVID detected. That's at 60 to 79%. 522 sites in that category. 80 to 100% COVID detected. That's in this bright red, and that's 291 sites. And you can see here, oranges and reds really do rule the roost on this map. Let's zoom into New York City, because we can't take a look at New York City on wastewater scan. And you can see here, there are some blues. Let's click on a few sites. We can see New York City is now dropping, which is some good news. Just randomly clicking through a whole bunch of sites does show that there is a drop in New York City. And let's take a look at Center County, Pennsylvania. 90,000 population at this wastewater site. It is listed in the red. It is rising. That is not good. We can see Ohio still has a lot of orange and red sites. We go out to the West Coast. There is still orange and red sites, but when we zoom into San Francisco, come on, there we go, San Francisco, we do see more light blues, less oranges, and I'm not seeing any reds in the Bay Area. Is there any? Nope. None. You have to go to the east, so that is some good news. Utah still does have some reds and oranges at this time. All right, let's go over now. You know what? We usually used to show this map. I think we're going to refrain from showing this map anymore. It's because they changed it to look less scary, less reliable. I mean, they're trying to lead you to believe that everything's okay. I mean, you look at these colors. Oh, that's not all that bad. Well, no, things really are actually bad. You can see there's very high, there's high, and yeah, places are still very high when you average out the wastewater sites. There's a lot of states like Idaho, Wyoming, Colorado, Utah, Washington. Is Maine still very high? Yeah, Maine still. You get the idea here. There's still a lot of states that are very high. Let's get over to Wastewater Scan and take a look at several different sites here. We'll spend just about 4 minutes. First off, nationwide, you can see here, COVID at this time is dropping. RSV actually dropped a little bit on the most recent update. Influenza A up ever so slightly, but that is a wonky movement. Norovirus is what I wanted to show you. And take a look at this. Norovirus is now listed in the medium category, and it is starting to go up. So that is concerning to see norovirus levels starting to rise. All right, let's go out to the West Coast. Let's take a look at San Francisco now, shall we? We'll take a look at the Western wastewater site there, and we can see COVID levels in San Francisco at this time are dropping. RSV is seeing a drop at this time. Influenza A is flat. Influenza B is flat. HMPV, not much of an issue. Slight rise for norovirus, and there were those detections of Mpox back in August. That was the clade 2 strain. Now let's go to the east a little bit. Let's go over to Texas, shall we? I don't know if we can see Dallas or not. Let's see. We'll go to Sunnyvale, Texas. See, okay, yeah, the levels here are very low for COVID. Now, most of this data is not updating, which is oftentimes why you see me refrain from going to Dallas. Let's try this DCWT Dallas. Let's see if that wastewater site. Okay, COVID levels are low and dropping, but again, that hasn't updated since August 28th. So, yeah, we're going to have to skip over that. I apologize about Dallas. Come on, update your wastewater. Let's go over to Iowa now and see what's going on there. How about we come up here to Marshalltown, Iowa, and see what's going on there. We do see COVID is rising slightly. RSV, influenza A, influenza B, not really being detected. Very low at this time. Norovirus is also low. HMPV is low. And no detections of Mpox at this time, which is some fantastic news to report for you. Let's go over to Indiana. And how about we go up to Carmel, Indiana, just north of the Indianapolis area. And we can see here, COVID, it's medium, it's dropping slightly. RSV, influenza A, influenza B, not being detected. HMPV, not being detected. Norovirus is very low at this time, and no detections of Mpox at this time. All right, moving down to the south once again. Let's come down here to Florida, and we'll make 2 stops in Florida. First one being South Orange County, Florida, and we can see here, this is where Disney is, Orlando area, still listed as high levels for COVID. RSV is low at this time. Influenza A is starting to rise, and this does say high, so that is concerning. So flu, or at least influenza A, if you're going to Disney, be mindful. It may be in circulation at this time. Norovirus is in circulation. It's also listed as high and rising. Mpox is not being detected at this time. Let's come down here to Miami, and let's go to the southern Miami wastewater site and see what's going on there. You can see COVID has been dropping. Little wonky movement upward. Not terribly concerned just yet. RSV, look at this. There have been a couple movements upward for RSV. Influenza A is low at this time. Influenza B is low at this time. And norovirus at this time is being listed as high. And yes, those are high levels. No detections of Mpox at this time. Let's go up to the northeast, and we'll do 1 or 2 wastewater sites here. How about we take a look at Boston, see what's going there. And I do want to go back to the CDC for just a moment. I have to go to the Pacific Northwest there. Boston is listed as high for COVID. RSV, influenza A, influenza B, not being detected. HMPV is low. Norovirus, a little bit of a rise at this time, and no detections of Mpox at this time. All right, we do need to get out to what is going on in the Pacific Northwest. Yes, let's go back to, let's go back to the CDC page for just a second and take a look at this. We still do have reds in Washington State. We can see here in and around the Seattle area, things are still showing up as red, and you have some work to do. We need to see these levels drop. Then we come down to Pierce and King area as well, and take a look at this. You're still showing up red. Here's a site right here. Look at this. Pierce County, 43,000 population. It's actually showing up as rising. I don't know if that is up to date, but if it is, hey, your levels may be rising once again. Oregon, you are seeing some levels that are still high, but if we take a look here, you can see here, things are starting to drop. I know I just showed, here's another one that's still rising. So there are still a few sites here that are rising, but the vast majority of them are dropping. Here's one that's really dropped. How about this other one? Yeah. You get the idea here. Things are starting to drop, and quickly, let's go over to Chicago. I always like to keep my Chicago subscribers updated. And Cook County. Here's one here that had started rising once again. I don't know if that is because of back to school, post Labor Day. Yeah, look at this. Chicago, your wastewater it's not fine. These are big wastewater sites. I just clicked on the 3 major sites, and there you are seeing a rise. Alrighty, folks, that does it for the Sunday wastewater update. We'll have another pandemic update tomorrow with more news and data. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below, hit that notification bell, share this video with anyone you know, and of course, leave all of your comments down below. I will see you all again next time. Until I see you again next time, stay safe, everyone, and have a fantastic Sunday. Thanks for watching.